Hi guys, so Labour back in 2014 put forward amendments to the Lobbying Act, which would have increased transparency and scrutiny of in-house lobbying. Now this is when companies deploy their own staff to influence government officials rather than outsourcing those efforts to third parties like consultants. Yes, we're talking about legalised corruption here. The rules only require third parties to log their efforts in the public register, while in-house lobbyists do not have to do this. Labour's amendment, which would have required both groups to register, was ultimately defeated 218 votes to 185, after David Cameron, who was Prime Minister at the time, ordered Conservative peers in the House of Lords to vote against the changes. Labour MPs say the changes would have ultimately made it harder for David Cameron, who was subsequently an employee and shareholder in Greensill, to open the doors for the lender across Westminster without officially registering his interests in that company. David Cameron reportedly told his friends that he was in line for a $60 million windfall if the company successfully listed itself on the stock market. Greensill went into administration earlier in March, which has left key borrowers, including the UK's third largest steel manufacturer, Liberty Steel, cash-strapped. So let's hear what the business secretary had to say about all of this.
About former Prime Minister David Cameron, who said it's just after the expenses scandal, I think, when he said political lobbying was the next big scandal waiting to happen. Now he's at the centre of controversy over the Greensill Corporation. Do the rules need to change?
Look, I think people have looked at this. As far as I know, David Cameron did absolutely nothing wrong.
He did absolutely nothing wrong. He did nothing illegal. Yes, he did nothing illegal. Did he do anything wrong? Yes, he absolutely did. What he did was he put pressure on peers within the House of Lords to vote against an amendment that would have delivered more transparency. And of course, he didn't want that because it would have exposed him. And it would also allow the public to see what's going on behind the scenes. Corruption is legalized. This is what people don't seem to understand. Companies influence policy. Voters don't really influence policy. Businesses do. Corporations do. Millionaires and billionaires do. They either give money directly to politicians or give it through some sort of give it through the party or through some sort of donation to the party. That's how they get their favours. Or the other approach is to offer jobs to politicians either when they're still in office or when they have left office in order to gain and maintain influence. It's undemocratic.
He was a public servant for a long time. He's now gone into private life and was working for Greensill Capital. People have looked into his role. People looked into the fact that he may or may not have contacted officials in the Treasury.
He may or may not have contacted officials in the Treasury. The way he delivers it, it's like he may have had a conversation with somebody in the Treasury after he was working in the private sector, after he had left public office. And had conversations about what? What was he having conversations with people in the Treasury about? Why was he having conversations with people in the Treasury? Was it about a game of golf? Was it about what he used to do when he was in university? What was it about?
As far as I know, everything was above board. He's been largely exonerated. And I think we should just move on.
We should just move on. Corruption is here to stay. Stop investigating corruption. Like, we tend to think, as I said before on this channel as well, we tend to think of corruption as somebody putting money inside a brown envelope, meeting a politician in a car park and handing it over. That's not how it works. It has been streamlined. It's official now. Companies give money to politicians in order to gain favours, or they offer them jobs. David Cameron put pressure on his party to stop an amendment that would have opened up, that would have delivered much greater transparency.
But Sir Alistair Graham, a former chair of the Standards Committee, he's calling for an inquiry now, and there certainly seems to be, it could be argued, a lack of transparency as to exactly what's gone on. I mean, Greensill, for example, seemed to be having, someone described it as a free run of Whitehall between 2012 and 2015 when David...
Of course. Because, well, as you'll see here, this is Lex Greensill, who is the founder of this company called Greensill. It says here on the Wikipedia page, early in his career, he served as an advisor to the British Prime Minister David Cameron. What more do we need to see?
David Cameron was still Prime Minister.
Well, obviously, Sir Alistair Graham's committee, can look into exactly what they want. I think that there's been a lot of transparency, actually. There's been a lot of information about...
There has been a lot of transparency. What the hell are you talking about? The Conservatives are anti-transparency. The Conservatives want to hide all of this away. You want to take in the money, but you don't want the public to see that you're taking in the money. You want to allow businesses to influence you and influence policy, but you don't want the public to know about it. How is that about how is that about caring for transparency? It's the opposite. Hiding these things away is the opposite of transparency. The problem is that they want to maintain this system. It benefits them. They either get some very nice gifts, they either get a very cushy job, they either get a lump of cash while they're a prime minister. These people are on between 70 and 80,000 pounds a year, and it's not enough for them. They want more. They always want more. And when they leave office, they still want more. They're not happy enough to just go into retirement, to stay on their pension, to leave things well enough alone. No, they want to maintain their influence. They want to become super rich. And they realize that there is a system, a corrupt system, that facilitates that.
About what David Cameron, what he said, who he contacted to within the Treasury. I think they've been very open about what's happened. And I think that lack of transparency, I don't think is a problem in this case.
Lack of transparency is not a problem in this case. This entire system needs to come crashing down. How is it possible that the public have no voice? The public have no influence over politics, or very, very little. The people who have influence are the people with money, the people with businesses, the people with power. You have much more power over government policy. One individual has more power over government policy than a crowd of people marching in the street. That's the problem. You as a business person could come along, hand a politician 50, 60,000 pounds, even less than that, and they will write up laws for you and push them through Parliament. The problem, of course, at the moment also is that there's so much corruption that it's almost going under the radar because there's so much. It's become normal. Contracts handed out to companies for PPE, contracts handed out for all types of things, and there's no scrutiny of it at all. Even when it comes to Brexit, post-Brexit trade deals are not being scrutinised by Parliament. The government deal with opaqueness. That is their modus operandi. And unfortunately, it's not going to change until at least the Conservatives are out of power and a government is put in place that actually cares about transparency and ending corruption. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?